Yeah. Ghost, we make him fly like a ghost. If he want talk on the game, the heater gon' turn into toast. If you pull out and we spliffed on, he was just doing a distance. Promise we ain't gon' miss him. His soul gon' fly when we lift him. Bye, good riddance. Why is this hard, her feelings? To the top on a mission. I got a shot, take it with precision. You ain't up if you ain't down to get it. Fuck your bob if you ain't bobbing with us. No, no, no. Bye, bye, bye. Clock him out. He ain't gon' talk on the Glock is off. You ain't gon' talk on the Glock is off. Headshot, knock him out. Get him. Bye, good riddance. Sorry I had to do this. Sorry I'm being a nuisance. I just gotta get it. I'm Mary Jeans on my Louis V for the belt. 2 G's for the belt. Know the heater gon' make 'em out. Promise the heater gon' make 'em out. OD niggas know me. I just move along with the hand of stuff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Happy Sunday, all that good stuff. I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday. Here in Jersey, it's raining, it's, all the stuff. But first and foremost, I want to say to my girl Teresa, one of my best friends in the whole world, happy birthday. I hope you have an amazing birthday, my girl. Love you so much. If you guys could just, in the comments, show Teresa some love. Today is her birthday. So I love you, Teresa. Wanted to say that. Second, I hope everyone who celebrates Thanksgiving had an amazing Thanksgiving. However you choose to spend it, if it's just a day to give thanks and be grateful for your family, your loved ones, all the things, I hope you had an amazing day. Third, before I move on to my topic, of course, the obligatory what's on my eyes. I haven't done that in a long time, but bringing it back, I used my Touch in Soul. Touch in Soul is one of my favorite Korean skincare brands. I have so many of their primers. Love it. And I also have a palette. I had two. They had a pink and an orange. Again, don't ask me what happened to it. But this one is Fill Up Orange, and the other one was very similar, just pink. So this is what is on my eyes. I use this one palette. Let me try to fold it backwards. Okay, there we go. So I used this orangey shade here, and I used the glitter. And then I used that little shimmer up there for the inner corners a little bit. So that is what is on my eyes. I've had this palette for a long time. And so I decided to take out a palette I haven't used in a long time. And I usually work around my face and my eyes as to what t-shirt I'm going to put on or what blouse I'm going to put on. So that is where that came from. I always start off with the makeup. Sometimes if I have a specific outfit in mind, I'll work around that and do my eyes to that. But I wanted to do the eyes, and so I just put on a blouse that matched, in the same color family. Again, I am a t-shirt and jeans type of girly. I'm not really high maintenance, and not there's anything wrong with my fashion girlies. Nothing at all wrong with that. I used to be one of those girlies that had all the things. But when I moved to Jersey, of course, I had to downsize a lot of that. Not complaining. As long as I'm clean, my clothes are clean, I smell good, all the things, I'm happy. So again, this is the Touch and Soul Fill Up Orange. Love this palette. Touch and Soul is amazing. I love their skincare, so I wanted to try their eyeshadows. I love their eyeshadows. So that's what's on my eyes. So I decided this is for members only early access. What that means is that for an hour or two, this will be members only. And then after whatever time, I'm not sure. I don't have many members, like, my channel's not overcrowded with members. Again, I'm not being ungrateful. I am grateful for every single member I have. I'm saying that because my members should be able to see it within 2 hours. You know what I mean? If they choose to. Anyway, and then I will make it public for everyone who may want to see this video or whatever. Um, I decided I wanted to do a Jail Chronicles series. So this will be episode 1 in my Jail Chronicles series. Again, I talk with my hands. I'm trying to control that. I don't know if it's a New York thing. I don't know if it's a Hispanic thing. I don't know if it's just somebody who's very animated. Blame it on all those things. I talk with my hands a lot. I'm trying to tone it down a little bit because I know it can be distracting and annoying. But I'm me. Anyway, so I had done a live, I think, and I was sharing a little bit about jail, and some people in my chat were interested. Like, I would love to hear about some jail stories. So I decided I'll do a series. Um, and I can only speak about my experience in New York City. I lived in New York City, not New York State. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I did live in the state of New York. What I mean is, I was in the immediate city in the 5 boroughs. So I've never been upstate. My mother, may she rest in peace, did go upstate, but I've never been upstate. There were many women that would come down to Rikers that were upstate, like they had to come down for court or for all these things. So you would sometimes see people from upstate coming back down to go to court, for like family court or another charge, or if they were about to be sent home, whatever, all the things. Okay. Um, so I'm going to do this in pieces because there's so much, and if I try to fit it all, it'll be jumbled and way too long. So I'm trying to make these videos maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes max, so that people won't have to sit here long. I also suggest that people put me on at least 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed, because I don't speak very quickly, so I speed myself up too. Okay. When I have to look back, have to listen to myself sped up. I don't even like to listen to myself. But anyway, okay. So this is going to be, sorry about the hair. I know that's annoying to some people too, but whatever. Um, this is going to be the first episode. I have spoken about my jail and all of that, but I wanted to do a more like detailed kind of thing. So since this is episode 1, I thought I'd speak about how my introduction to jail, how it is, where I was living in the Bronx at the time, when I got my charges. So I just want to speak a little bit about that. Okay. In New York City, in case you don't know, there are 5 boroughs, right? Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. So there's 5 boroughs. So, and keep in mind that this was 25, 26, 27 years ago when I got in trouble. So things may have drastically changed. I'm speaking from my experience. I'm going back in time. Okay. So travel back in time with me to like 1998, 99, 2000, right? That's where I'm at. So, um, I was an addict and was doing stupid things. I think I've been arrested for possession, um, for petty theft, I think. In the hospital, I was sick and I grabbed a purse. It had no money in it anyway, but it doesn't matter. So I grabbed somebody's purse that had no money in it, but so I got in trouble for, I don't remember. It was a petty crime. It was a misdemeanor. Not saying that what I did was right. Again, let me disclaimer, I'm not glorifying anything that I've done. I'm just telling you. Okay. I'm telling you the facts of what happened. I'm not glorifying it. I don't think that anything that I've done is okay, is something to be proud of. It is just something that unfortunately my stupidity and my addiction caused, and I learned from it. Because when I did end up going to jail, for more than a month, it scared me straight. So I got in trouble for possession. I got in trouble for a direct sale, um, because I was again jonesing, went downstairs. My ex-husband was telling me to stay home. I remember it was Halloween. Okay, it was Halloween, and it was a Sunday. And I was cemento ho. I was not staying upstairs. I'm going outside. I'm going downstairs. And he just kept saying, just chill, let's watch a movie, all the things. The kids were at my parents' house for the weekend. But I was resigned to go downstairs. Sorry about that. I was resigned. I was stubborn. I went downstairs and I had a few dollars and I wanted to get something. And this guy was standing like on the boulevard, drinking a beer. And I walked by him and he said my name. Hey, Cindy, how are you? I didn't know who this person was. Um, and so I'm like, maybe he knows, my husband. I'm going to say my husband because he was my husband almost 30 years. So if I say ex, that is the person I'm talking about. If I say husband, that is the person I'm talking about. I thought maybe he knew him. So there was a Cuchi Fritos. A Cuchi Fritos is like one of those little restaurants that have those hot lights with all the fried food in the window. That's a Cuchi Frito. There was a Cuchi Frito right on the boulevard. So he was in the bodega, like standing in front of the bodega, which is a grocery store, next to the Cuchi Fritos, drinking a beer. So he said my name. So I walked over. Then he was like, oh, gave me his sob story. He's sick. He needs something. He doesn't know where to get it. I was so naive. I was young. I wasn't street smart. None of that. I wasn't a street smart person. I was a person that grew up with my parents, hardworking people. They didn't do drugs. And my mom was a drug addict, right? May she rest in peace. But I was 11 years old when I was removed from my mom. And then I went to live with my parents, hardworking people, no drugs, no violence, no craziness. So I wasn't a street smart person. You know what I mean? When I was out on my own, wilding and doing all the things. Um, so anyway, I thought, hey, let me go get him some stuff, and maybe I'll get the money I need. This is why I say always listen to your gut. My gut was always nagging me, and every time I ignored it, I got myself in trouble. My gut was telling me, Cindy, just go home. I didn't listen. I went to the one cop to go cop. They had nothing. I went to another spot. They had nothing. Again, that's my gut. Like, Cindy, time to go home, right? Divine intervention, if you will. Two spots had nothing. And then I remembered, I knew that in the Cuchifritos, in the back, there was a dealer in there. And I didn't want to go to her at first, but I was fiending. So I went and he stayed where he was. He didn't follow me or anything. And I went all the way to the back of the Cuchifrito, got what I needed from him. He just wanted one bag too. Trigger warning, right? So I walk out, I walk to the corner, I give it to him. He's like, oh, I got you next time. So I did it for no money. Okay. Stupid me. And so now I'm debating. I'm walking. I lived like around the block. So now I'm walking super slow. I'm debating. Should I go back to the Cuchifritos and just get me a soup and then go home? That me procrastinating, debating, got me caught. By the time I get right in front of my building, the van pulls up. I get arrested. I go to jail. They take me to Rikers because it was Sunday. So they weren't going to keep me at the precinct. Um, I really don't know why they took me to Rikers. They didn't take me to central booking. They took me to Rikers and they were going to bring me in the morning back to go to court. So I get to Rikers. I call my dad. It's like really, really late, mind you. I call my dad and I say, Dad, I'm arrested. He's like, do you have bail? I'm like, yeah, $500. He's like, be right there. Mind you, my parents lived in New Jersey. They had to come down. Okay, it's late at night. They had to come all the way to New York to bail me out. My parents bailed me out. By 4 a.m., I was bailed out. Anyway, I ended up missing court, right, for that case. I was in the courthouse, like in the waiting area, and my lawyer didn't see me and went in and saw the judge. And as soon as she came out, she saw me. I was like, I was right here. She's like, oh, well, you have a stayed warrant. I'm like, I was sitting right here. So the court officer tells me, hold on, they have to go get another officer to take me to the back. So when he says they're gonna take me to the back, no, no, you're not. No, you're not. So I bounced. I went on the run for a few years. Okay. I ended up moving to Philly because I was on the run, all the things. Came back from Philly, was living a whole different life. Um, and my sister sent me to a pharmacy. She had stolen the prescription pad and the stamp. I had no knowledge of any of that. No knowledge of any of that. Um, it wasn't in my name, the prescription, nothing. She just told me she bought me a pack of diapers. I had just had a baby. He was like 6 months, 7 months old. She had bought me a pack of diapers and said, okay, in exchange for that, just go pick up the prescription. I said, okay. Went there. They wanted her. It was a whole big thing, the whole prescription pad, all the things. Um, and I wouldn't tell on her, of course. Second, I had a warrant, right? I had been running for almost 3 years. And even if I didn't have a warrant, I'm not gonna snitch. That's not a thing. And they were like, if you just, all you have to do is call her. Just call her, and you'll go home. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. We know that that's your sister. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who that person is. Yada yada yada. They're like, you're gonna end up doing her time. Okay, whatever. I ended up going to jail. Now, so I just was talking a little bit about my charges, but I want to go through the process of, again, this is just episode one. I want to go in chronological order, and tell you about my time at Rikers. But I just want to talk today a little bit about what happens when you get arrested. Now, I got arrested in the Bronx. So wherever you're at, there's precincts, right? So where I lived, they took me to the closest precinct. You go there, they fingerprint you, they search you. They search you first, they put you in a cell, they take you out, and you have to strip, you have to bend down and cough and all the fun things. And then they put you back in the cell, and then they take you to another jail. That's the courthouse. It's called central booking. Central booking is where they take you from the precinct. They take you there, and you're in a cell with like 30 other women in one cell. And there's like three benches, like three walls, right? So there's four walls. One wall is the cell. The other three walls have benches along them. Then there's a toilet and maybe a sink if you're lucky. There's a toilet there. Sometimes they'll have sinks, sometimes they won't. So you're in this cell with all these women that are waiting to see the judge, right? Sometimes you'll have to stay there. Excuse me, you can stay there up to 48 hours. Excuse me. So there was one time where me and my sister were in central booking together, and I didn't realize till we were getting sent home that that was my sister on the floor. That's a story for another day, because that is a whole video in itself. What happened in central booking with me and my sister arrested at the same time, not knowing. Anyway, um, so you're in central booking. There's like 30 women. There's no beds. There's no blankets. Nothing. There's women sprawled all over the floors. Now, mind you, this is not a clean place. You know what I mean? It's jail, central booking. There are women that are sick, what they call dope sick. There's women that are going through withdrawals from all types of things. So there's women constantly throwing up in the toilet. There's women that have to keep using the bathroom every so often because you get the runs when you're dope sick or withdrawing. You have the runs, you have to throw up. So just imagine you're in this room. So there's bars and then there's a door, right? So it's not like you have bars where you could get air circulating. There's bars, and then a little bit further, there's a door. So you're behind bars and they can close the door on you. Um, so that's how it was in the Bronx. So you sit in central booking, they take you out, they call your name, they take you out into these little isolation booths where you speak to your lawyer right before you go see the judge. Your public defender, whatever, unless you're able to have pay for a lawyer, you go into this little tiny room where there's like a glass in between, like a plexiglass in between you and your lawyer. You're sitting in one little stool, he's sitting in another. The room is like, you just, all that fits in there is a stool basically. And you talk to your lawyer, he tells you, this is what you're looking at, this is what I'm going to say. um if they offer you this, I think you should do this, yada yada yada. So because you're getting arraigned, it's your first appearance, right? So then the lawyer speaks to you for a few minutes, they take you back into the cell, and then the second time they call you is to go in front of the judge. um I remember waiting there 24 hours, almost 48 hours to get seen by a judge. So that's how that goes with like 30 women in there. It's really, really bad. It's really overcrowded. They have a few cells down. They have the men, so you can hear the men. Like, and when you walk by to go, because you have to walk by and go this way to see your lawyer or to see the judge, you walk by the men's cells, but you're separated, obviously. Um, it's a hell of a thing being in that cell for so long with so many women. Again, there's nowhere for you to lay down. People get in fights about if you try. There's no laying down on a bench. There's so many women, everybody's seated on top of each other, and then the women that were really really sick were laying on the floor, just laid out on the floor. It's really bad, unsanitary. It's not a fun experience. I don't understand why some people on the internet glorify ever having been in jail, or like it's something to be proud of. I am extremely ashamed of myself and of the time I spent there, but I made the best out of my situation. When I did go to jail to Rikers Island, I made the best out of my time. I joined the military program. I kept recycling, redoing, because the military program was for like parole violators or probation violators, right? It's a 62-day program because usually you get 90 days when you violate. So you would get out early, you would do 62 days, and if you completed the program successfully, you would get sent home. So they recycled it every 62 days because the program was initially made for probation or parole violators, right? Really probation violators. Because parole violators usually will go upstate. But so if you violated, now parole violators could stay there if they were given that. Okay, 90 days, you do the 62, it was called STEP. You do STEP, and 62 days you get sent home. So I kept recycling because I wasn't, a parole or a probation violator. I had a city year and I enjoyed it. It was a dorm setting. I didn't like being in the cells. The cell blocks were just, hated it. The dorms were just open air. It was hot in the cells. Oh my God. In the summer, it was the worst. Like the day rooms, like there was cells all around, and then there was two tiers, two floors, and then in the middle was the day room with like the tables and the chairs and one TV, and that they had like big fans there, but that's it. In the cells, you were dying, and I don't even remember now how I did it. I don't even remember complaining that much. I think you just get used to it. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do. But when you're in dorms, there's like multiple giant fans, and the circulation is just better. I don't remember it being as hot in the dorms as it was in the cells, of course. Um, and I wasn't claustrophobic in the dorms. You know what I mean? You didn't get locked in during count time. They have to do their count to make sure everyone's accounted for. And every time they did count, you either had to go inside your cell or stand in front of your cell, whatever. And in the dorm, you just sat on your bed. You know what I mean? It just was a whole different feeling. It wasn't as shut in. It was just so much. Um, and I learned a valuable lesson. There was so many things. People think you can't get drugs in jail. There was a lot of drugs in jail. There was this group of girls that worked the visiting room, right? And they would have so much contraband. Contraband is things you're not supposed to have in jail. They had nail polish, they had makeup, they had candies, like, shaped as a penis, shaped as a vagina, like stuff you're not supposed to have in jail. And I was in a cell block that at that time, I kept moving around until I went into the military program, stayed in a dorm there, and then had to go back into a cell for the last 30 days of my time. Anyway, um, so I know the experiences of cells and of dorms. But when I first got there, you're put in a place for people that are still fighting their case, right? There's these cell blocks for people that are still, fighting your court case, or you haven't been sentenced. So those people can wear regular clothes. Once you're sentenced, they take all your clothing, except for like pajamas and undies and stuff, t-shirts. They take all your jeans, all your street clothes, and they put it in your property. And you have to wear greens. You have to wear military greens every day. in jail. So that's so they can distinguish who has sentenced and the people wearing regular clothes are still fighting their cases, yada, yada, yada. So the first house I was in was, of course, I was still going to court. So these women worked at the visits and they had makeup. Like I said, they had hair care products that you couldn't have, you weren't supposed to have. Pretty girls too. And the prettiest girls usually worked like in the visits or in the warden's office and stuff. I had a friend that she was beautiful and she worked in the office, the main office, and it was because she was so beautiful. um, so the pretty girls got the best jobs in jail. That's the thing. You know what I mean? So these girls worked the visits, didn't speak English, they were Hispanic, didn't speak English very well, it didn't matter. But they had so much contraband, it was crazy. And they would do searches. They do random searches all the time in dorms, in cells. When they pick your dorm or your cell block to be searched, it's random. Everybody has to go stand in front of your cell. You have to remove your mattress, hold your mattress. They ransack your stuff. They leave your cell a mess. They leave your dorm. You know, when you're in a dorm, you have a bed and a locker. They leave it everything thrown on top of your bed. It's the searches are the worst, especially if you get an officer that's a real an asshole. They're gonna just destroy your shit on purpose and make you have to clean everything up. Even if you have fruit, sometimes if they're an asshole, they'll throw out your fruit, like your oranges or your apples. When officers that are cool really won't do that, it's a fruit. Why the hell am I going to throw? You know, you may not be able to afford commissary. An apple or an orange is not really a big deal. But if you get that occasional asshole officer, he's going to throw your damn fruit away. Because some people would make like this alcoholic drink. They would ferment like the oranges or the orange peels. I wasn't listening. Again, I wasn't an alcoholic, so I'm not shaming anybody who was an alcoholic and did that, tried to make alcohol in jail. That's not what I'm saying. I wasn't going through that. I had apples and oranges so I could eat them mother effers. But anyway, I guess that's what some officers were thinking. They're probably trying to make alcohol out of it, whatever. There was a lot of rules. They were searching for weapons and drugs on those searches and contraband, things you weren't supposed to have. Um, and so those girls on the visits, they had nail polish, their nails were done. And these are women that had been there 2 years fighting their cases. Like they had some serious cases, these women. So they had been there like 2 years on Rikers just fighting their cases. So they were well known. They would get away with stuff. Again, I don't know where they hid the stuff when the searches were done, but they never got caught. I don't know. You know, it's in jail. It's don't ask. Don't ask no questions. You ask too many questions. Hey, baby. In jail, it's like you ask too many questions. They want to know why you're asking questions. What the hell are you asking questions for? So you don't ask questions. You mind your damn business and all the things. But so this was just a short little video to tell you guys about this series. I will be going in chronological order in this series to let you guys know about my experience. Again, it's not glorifying my experience. Again, it scared me straight. And my son just came home, so I don't want to be doing a video when my baby just got home. But again, I hope you guys enjoy this. It's a very, very short video. I don't even know how long I was here, but I just wanted to put something out for my members before the week is over, because I said once a week I will be making something, some kind of content for members. This is going on members only first for an hour or two, and then it will be made public. And this will be a whole series. Once a week, I'll do a whole series telling you about jail. It will be longer than this one. But this is just an introduction type video. So if you guys are interested in this kind of video, if there's anything in particular you would like to know about and I can answer it, just leave it in the comment section and I'll answer to the best of my ability. But there's a lot, guys. I'll tell you about the inappropriate relationships between officers and inmates, um, how people got drugs in there and hid the drugs, all the things. All the things I will tell you about, the fighting and the relationships. There's a lot of relationships in jail. So anyway, sorry, a car is backing up. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm sorry that it's so short, but this will be an ongoing series on my channel. And I hope you guys enjoy your Sunday, and I hope you have a great beginning of your week tomorrow, which will be Monday and all the things. And thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Y como siempre, te quiero mucho, mis amores. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you soon.